Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to figure out if companies are doing great or just really good at making spreadsheets look good. Today we're diving into the latest filing from Guess's INC, and let me tell you, things might not be as straightforward as a denim jacket. So check this out, Guess Hansing, the popular fashion brand, dropped their report on August 27, 2025, which is super important because it tells us how they've been doing financially. It's like getting a peek behind the curtain of their business operations. And honestly, sometimes behind the curtain, you find more than you expect. This specific report, a Form 8K, is usually for big news or changes, which means what they are announcing today is pretty significant. Think of it as a company shouting out to the world, hey, pay attention to this. The company we're looking at is Gus Heinz, and they are incorporated in Delaware, which is pretty common for many US companies, even though their main operations and reporting address are actually in Switzerland. Yes, Switzerland, that's where you'll find their principal executive offices at Strada Regina 44 Biogeo, Switzerland. Pretty international for a brand that probably rings a bell for many of us. Now let's talk about what's actually being reported here and why it matters. Primarily, this filing is about their financial results for the quarter that ended August 2, 2025. They've released a press release, and that's what this report is all about. This part of the filing is where they detail their financial health and performance for that specific quarter. It's the juicy stuff, the numbers that tell the real story of how the company is doing, not what they wish they were doing. The main event here is the press release, which includes their financial results for the quarter. So we're going to focus on what those numbers are saying. Normally, these reports can be incredibly dense, but our goal is to pull out the most important bits, things that investors and customers alike would want to know. The report itself is dated August 27, 2025, which aligns with the date of the earliest event reported, signaling that this is fresh information straight from the company. And who's signing off on this important information? Well, it's Alberto Toni, the Chief Financial Officer, which means these are the official numbers approved by the person in charge of the company's finances. Now, even though this filing itself doesn't contain the detailed financial tables we often see in quarterly reports, it explicitly references a press release with those results, and we treat that press release as the core of this disclosure. Imagine this filing is the invitation and the press release is the party where all the interesting guests the financial data are at. So what are the key takeaways from Gus INC's performance ending around August 2025? While this specific 8K filing is more of a notification that results are out, and the press release is where the details are buried, we can infer the general focus. Companies like Guess Inc. are always under pressure to perform, especially in the fast-moving fashion industry, often facing trends, competition, and changing consumer tastes. When a company announces its financial results, we always look for revenue growth or decline, a company's ability to turn sales into profit, and their overall financial stability. For Guess Inc., we want to know if their brand is still resonating with customers. Are their sales increasing or decreasing compared to the same time last year? Are they making more money than they are spending? And how is their debt situation looking? Think about it this way. If a store's sales are going up by 10%, that's great. It means more people are buying their clothes. But if their costs are going up by 20%, then they are actually losing ground. And that's a problem. We're looking for that kind of contrast, that real story behind the headlines. For a company like Accession that competes with many other apparel brands, they need to be smart about their inventory, their marketing, and their ability to adapt to what's trendy. Are they investing in digital sales? Are they making sure their physical stores are attractive places to shop? These financial results will give us clues. Sometimes a company might show revenue growth, but their profit margin shrinks. This can happen if they're heavily discounting items to drive sales, which might look good in the short term, but isn't sustainable long term. That's why looking at both revenue and profit is crucial. We also want to see if their management is guiding the company in the right direction. Is the CEO and CFO making decisions that align with the company's long-term strategy? Are they expanding into new markets or focusing on their core products? The numbers in the press release they reference will paint a picture of that. One thing to consider is how Gus INC is doing compared to its peers. If the whole fashion industry is struggling, maybe Guess's results are actually quite good in context. But if competitors are booming and Guess is lagging, that's a sign of a different kind of problem. This report is essentially a snapshot of their performance. It tells us about sales, expenses, profits, and might even hint at future expectations. For investors, it's a signal to either buy, hold, or sell their stock. For consumers, it might mean more sales or new collections coming soon. Now let's pivot to the overall assessment. Based on the fact that they're issuing an 8K to announce these results, it's safe to say there's something they want the market to pay attention to. The critical question is whether this is positive news like a surprise profit beat or negative news like a significant sales shortfall. The reference press release will hold the answers, and typically the market reacts very quickly to this kind of information. Guesses Einstein is in a competitive market. Their ability to manage inventory, effectively predict fashion trends, and maintain brand loyalty are key to their success. If their financial results show strength in these areas, it indicates good management. If they show weakness, it suggests challenges that need to be addressed. External factors like consumer spending habits and economic conditions also play a huge role. Looking at the broader picture, without the specific numbers laid out in this 8K filing, we can only speculate, but the act of filing and referencing a press release means their financial narrative for this quarter is now public. The market will be dissecting those numbers and will be doing the same. Given the information though, it seems that Guess Unseen is communicating its financial standpoint for the quarter. The real test will be in the details of that press release to see if they are growing their sales, maintaining profitability, and managing their resources wisely. As always, we're looking for the companies that are not just surviving, but thriving, and translating that into sustain. The New York Stock Exchange certainly adds a layer of complexity to their international operations and financial reporting, which is something to keep an eye on, especially regarding currency fluctuations and global economic impacts on their sales. Alright, that's our initial decode of this Guess's filing. What's your take on their quarterly performance? Do you think Guess has what it takes to stay on top in the fashion world? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our future deep dives into corporate filings. Also join our Discord community linked in the description for more discussions and insights from fellow finance enthusiasts. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious and stay informed.